Nobody actually likes likes. Am I right or am I right? These ravenous, gelatinous, cylindrical, insufferable, shield-eating, rupee-stealing monster jerks have been a pain in Link's butt since the first game. And I'm here to defend the position that in Tears of the Kingdom specifically, it goes much deeper than you may think. Because in addition to the elemental likes, the rock likes, and the sludge like, I have one more like that I believe exists in this game, and this is what it looks like. Yeah, stick around and hear me out. Let's go. First things first, this is not an original theory, just something I came across on Reddit I think is interesting and less talked about, and as I wrote a script and filmed the footage for this one, I added my own verse to the song, if you will. It is the central thesis of this video that Bubbulfrogs are in fact likes who ate a Blupee and were subsequently transformed. The first thing players who've seen standard likes before probably noticed about them in Tears is that they cannot slither and chase you around the way they've done before in other games. Correct me if I'm wrong, standard likes have always been mobile. The only stationary like I know of is the Deku like from Twilight Princess, and let's put a pin in that for a moment because in Tears, standard likes are stationary and only found hanging from walls and ceilings. And I don't believe likes ever climbed up and down walls in previous appearances either, although they have been known to bait and ambush like a truly terrifying predator would. They're usually found living inside caves, but also at Hyrule Castle where the Demon King's influence is most significant, which is historically in character with them often being found more heavily in dungeons and whatnot. As far as looks go, likes are recognizable but evolved, and while they've always kept their general shape, their aesthetics and abilities have evolved somewhat throughout the series, probably most closely resembling likes from the N64 era of Zelda, except they have 4 stumpy legs. Likes have never been limbed, and now they're a dentist's worst nightmare as well with the addition of teeth. They've never had chompers before. Not regular likes anyway, they're what we call edentulous creatures, but we have seen stationary toothed likes before with the Deku-like variety found in a couple dungeons of Twilight Princess I mentioned a moment ago, primarily the Forest Temple. This makes room for a theory that likes have a unique ability in Twilight Princess and Tears of the Kingdom similar to what Kirby is known for, sucking things up and copying or mimicking their special features. The Forest Temple is an excellent place for Deku Babas and likes to cross paths, so imagine the possibility of a like swallowing up a Deku Baba and transforming into a Deku-like. It's not far-fetched at all in the context of Zelda lore. It's evidence to support that whenever they swallow up something containing special properties, they're able to copy those properties and use them to evolve. Have you ever noticed how every ice-type like will drop ice fruit when killed? Every fire-like will drop fire fruit, and every shock-like will drop shock fruit. The regular likes do not drop any elemental material items of any kind, however all likes drop stones, and of course the elemental likes drop corresponding elemental stones. So the theory here is that likes swallow up the food and transform, but I wanted to see if I could actually capture this transformation on camera. I took handfuls of different materials and left piles in front of the standard likes, then stood close to lure them in for the lunge and ran out of range so they could only get the bait. But nay, these monsters are not animated to transform or programmed to change from anything other than rock likes to regular likes, and they're definitely eating the materials because they disappear from the ground when he comes at Link, and then they drop back down once the like is killed. It's disappointing that when they eat these things, they don't go through a transformation before our eyes. I really thought I'd be able to see something here to back up this theory a little more, sort of how choo-choo jelly can be manipulated with elemental stuff to change right in front of you, but just because they don't transform in front of us doesn't completely destroy this hypothesis. So continuing along the line of thought that this theory is correct and that in Tears of the Kingdom, likes do have transformative abilities based on what they consume, let's talk about the evidence we can observe. Aesthetically, Bubbulfrogs have obvious similarities to likes, Blupees, and the Lord of the Mountain. They have a bulky jelly belly, and the 4 stumpy legs of the like grow into their limbs. And Bubbulfrogs have teeth. Name me another frog out there that has teeth. And as for the similarities to the other metaphysical creatures, the face looks like an owl, especially on the Blupee, and it's got that same swirly body pattern also seen on the Lord of the Mountain. Blupees, being rabbits, jumping is their primary method of motion, and so when a like eats a Blupee, it gains that ability. This is also reminiscent of pickets, a subspecies of like that only appeared in the dark world of A Link to the Past and who move by jumping. They share their Japanese name with likes, Raikou, essentially making them cousins or something like that. In Japanese, Bubbulfrogs and their gems are called Maoi, which more literally translates to hesitation, doubt, delusion, and the inability to reach enlightenment, suggesting Bubbulfrogs, from a spiritual perspective, are not evolved enough to achieve nirvana or satori. But why? Bubbulfrogs are cute and friendly and harmless. That said, we must, quote, defeat them, unquote, to get a bubble gem, as opposed to different cuts of meat which simply come from the animals you hunt in the wilderness. And I don't know about you, but my defenses went up the first time I encountered a Bubbulfrog, hopping around ominously from above, looking like it's ready to pounce, erratic, unpredictable, then shooting bubbles out of its mouth I assumed I could get caught up in, but I quickly realized even if they were out to get me, they weren't that tough, and soon after that I came to the understanding that they're completely harmless. Still, from the properties of the like, Bubbulfrogs just give off weird vibes. They'll eat a Blupee with the same idea they have in mind when eating elemental fruits or boulders, to use those special properties against the hero coming to oppose the Demon King. The only problem for likes, besides Link of course, is that Blupees exist on a higher plane. Instead of shooting out orbs of fire, ice, or electricity, or boulders to crush you, they take control and render the likes' attacks completely harmless, so it's just blowing bubbles at you. And this is obviously likely where their English name comes from, which loses all of its original meaning from the Japanese word I just explained. Basing their nomenclature off their behavior instead of their level of spiritual awareness removes so much potential lore for the English-speaking audience. Instead of being creatures filled with doubt and delusion, they're just weird frogs that blow bubbles. Then, of course, once defeated, the Blupee that was eaten is freed. And instead of dropping a like stone, through the process of combining with a like for a little while, the bubble gem is formed. You'll also notice any Blupee you attack after freeing it from the Bubbulfrog will not release rupees. It's believed the rupees a Blupee would usually drop are now fused with the like stone, and that's what a bubble gem is. Then and only then can a like or its remnants go to the next level of spiritual evolution, but they still need help from an individual searching for enlightenment themselves, and that's where our old buddy Colton comes into play. Being a monster enthusiast just like his brother before him, he's the perfect character to help tell the story of how there are some likes out there who try to snatch up Blupees, take their powers, transform into a satori, and instead are overpowered by the Blupee, transformed into a weird, awkward creature until they are slain or sacrificed or whatever, and their remains are consumed by someone looking to transcend this world. And then and only then can they move up to the next level, not becoming a satori quite yet, but becoming a Blupee. Both satori and nirvana relate to enlightenment, but more specifically, satori refers to the sudden intuitive awakening or a realization of one's true nature, so it's more like a moment versus a continual state of realization. After doing all the hard work and the preparation and whatever is needed to ready oneself for that level of understanding. In other words, the Blupee reverts back to being a Blupee after helping the like transcend, and then when the bubble gem is consumed, it helps whoever eats that move upward to the next level. You know, either that or likes are mindless and they just snatch up anything that gets nearby like a Venus flytrap. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the topic. Leave yours in the comments. And a special shout out to all my channel members. Thank you so very much. As a fun, quick little perk thing, kind of like the member minigame, I thought I'd do a member of the week raffle thing. So let's give it a spin. Who's going to win? Oh my god. And Malplace Terminator AC 130. We have a winner. Congratulations, Terminator, and thank you so very much for being here. All you want for this is some bragging rights, but I got a lot more Zelda stuff coming soon, so stay tuned. Subscribe to make sure you catch things as soon as they drop. You can always change your mind later. So until next time, stay cool and always keep punching out there. Aloha.